You are now listening to the Hot Take Hotbox.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hot Take Hotbox. My name is Matt McSweeney. Welcome to another YouTube original. I am here to recap WWE's Day 1 Raw event from San Diego, California last night. Thank you for joining us as always. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know what you think about everything that went down last night in the comments below. Now let's get into everything that happened in this jam-packed Monday Night Raw, Day 1 edition. First, we got Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. Before the match, we were shown a little video package of their feud. Kind of started in 2018 with the infamous punch to the face that broke Becky Lynch's nose. I actually like the build-up to this match, even though I really can't stand Nia Jax. But when matches like this seem they have a personal beef or the feud seems somewhat real, it always adds to it. And when there's no title involved, you need a little bit more of that to get us to care. And I felt like Becky Lynch and Nia Jax got me to care about this. The match itself was pretty good. I expect nothing less from Becky Lynch. She seems to always put on bangers. She's had a pretty good year. Trish Stratus matches, Zoe Stark matches, you name it. She's kind of been all over the map. They've done everything they can to keep her away from the title, but she's found a way to make, some of this interesting. I know there's been a little bit of drama, her getting, her match with Trish getting taken off of SummerSlam and yada yada. But all in all, I thought she had a pretty good 2023 with the circumstances considered, not being in the title picture and whatnot. Now, I give all that Becky compliment, but I will not deny Nia Jax a compliment because she came to play. There was a lot of, big spots in this match. Sunset flip power bombs, flipping into the barrier, you name it. They mixed in some MMA transitions with the disarm her and the triangle, a triangle choke, I should say, which Nia turned into a power bomb at one point. Nia hit the Samoan drop off the top rope, which Becky got a kick out on. The false finishes I thought were incredible in this one, and the crowd was completely into it. It was a perfect match to kind of start the night. Eventually, Nia Jax did find Becky's chin with that right hand. They were kind of playing that up the entire match, how that was the thing that had broken her nose the first time, and she found her chin, knocked her flat on the ground, hit her with the little squash move in the corner. 1, 2, 3, and Nia Jax probably pulls out the biggest win since her reemergence or return in the middle of 2023. So she definitely needed that, left Becky bleeding, and you just know the story isn't over. It looked gnarly the way Becky was just kind of leaning up against the rope. They played that up big time, made Nia look like a destroyer, which she doesn't need help doing because she destroys people in storyline and off storyline when she actually punches them in the face. But I think it was a perfect way they played into everything and just made Nia look like just a scary force to be reckoned with. And, it's going to be probably one of those two battling for the title shot at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley. So I guess we will see where they go with that. It was a perfect way to start the night. Next, it was time for the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, to make his way to the ring. They replayed Shinsuke's Christmas story, the little nightmare before Christmas from 2 weeks ago. He was all fired up. Fired up Cody is a good Cody to get the promos seem more natural, and they're not as, I don't know. Sometimes they come off as corny. I'm not going to lie. I love Cody. I don't want to think anyone out there thinking that I'm not a Cody guy, but the fired up version of Cody is much better. Even in the same way I would say Cena, when he was at his height, fired up Cena is much better than corny Cena, as for lack of a better word. But he was fired up talking about Shinsuke, saying their feud should be over. He doesn't understand why this is still a thing. He offers him a match for tonight. Let's settle it. Let's get this over with. You've been spraying me with the mist in my face for weeks now. Every week I'm getting this poison mist. I'm fighting blind, but I was fine. That was a nice little line that he threw in there at one point. But, of course, Shinsuke's not going to accept on the spot. Shinsuke, then, we got a video that plays on the board, the Japanese with the subtitles underneath. Says he's in Cody's head, and he is the one that's going to finish this story. Their match will not happen tonight, but it will happen in the future. Later on in the show, I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It was announced that next week it'll be Shinsuke Nakamura and Cody Rhodes. So hopefully we get a end to this. I've kind of liked this Shinsuke ever since the Seth Rollins where they do these hype videos and He's seemed like a sick, sadistic, heel, but haven't really gotten much payoff for it because he's getting beat by the top guys. I don't. I would like to see them go somewhere with this at some point, but that's just me. After that segment, we got a Kofi Kingston and Jey Uso versus Imperium members Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser tag match. This was your average tag match. You assumed going into it that Jey Uso and Kofi were going to take the W, but unfortunately this match was cut short due to a real-life situation, like a real-life injury sustained by Giovanni Vinci. You knew right away. It kind of looked weird. You saw the X getting thrown up by the referee, which is the universal sign for something real is happening right here. It happened when Gio was coming off the top rope and Kofi met him with a drop kick that landed kind of stiffly, swung Gio's head back, and during the whip to the ground, he bounced his head off the ground again. So he kind of got like double knocked, hit and then fell to the ground and hit the back of his head. And you just saw right away that he was kind of out of it. Seemed like a football player who had just gotten his bell rung and was kind of shaky getting up and didn't know where he was or what was going on. Hands were just out. He was just looking up. He didn't really know what was going on. But it seemed like a concussion situation. Vinci looked like he had really no idea where he was. And they had to call the match. They gave the win to Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston. Definitely hope everything is okay with Vinci. He was able to walk out with the help of the referee, so that's a good sign. But we are rooting for a speedy recovery for Mr. Vinci. Next, we got a Miz TV segment with the Judgment Day. But not all of Judgment Day made their way down to the ring. It was just R-Truth, with the crowd getting faked out with the playing of the Judgment Day song, and then nobody came out when their usual, explosion happens. But then when the explosion happened, it was R-Truth's music that hit, and the crowd loved it. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. R-Truth is just pure comedy every time he gets out there. The Miz asks him, "Hey man, where is everyone? You told me that everyone was going to come out and talk." And he's like, "Dude, I swear those guys were right behind me. I don't know where they went. I don't know what happened. They went missing." There's some little Jimmy references at one point. They got a crowd pop, but eventually Dirty Dom, JD McDonough come out to spoil the party. Dom's getting aggressively booed in his hometown of San Diego. It was incredible. They made mention of it. They're like, "Wow, this guy even gets booed in his own hometown, man. That's embarrassing." Truth and JD continue to argue over who is actually in the Judgment Day based off their Miracle on 34th Street fight that happened, where the stipulation that Truth had created was loser leaves Judgment Day, which JD did lose. Then they actually didn't kick him out, but R-Truth, as he's always on another planet, believes that, come on, man, you're not in the Judgment Day. Why do you keep acting like you're in the Judgment Day? So eventually this segment turns into a match. R-Truth, The Miz versus Dom and JD. This whole match, even the segment included, was comedy. R-Truth is confused whose team he's on the whole time, believes he should be with fellow Judgment Day member Dom Mysterio, keeps winking at Dom the whole time, standing in the wrong corner. Eventually, they're holding The Miz, and they're saying, "All right, prove you're in the Judgment Day." He goes to punch The Miz. The Miz ducks out. He punches Dom, or JD, I forget which one, but then they send him into a skull-crushing finale, and that is a win for the former tag team of Awesome Truth. Then they did a little nightclub segment where I guess Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, were partying, and they're confronted by Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. I guess they were celebrating their illustrious title win, but that title match is gonna happen at some point. I think next week or whatever. But it was weird. I just was like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Next, we got the Ivy Nile versus Rhea Ripley Women's World Title match. This match was actually pretty good considering you knew Rhea was going to win no matter what happened or what they made you think happened. No matter what, Rhea was winning this title or leaving with this title because it's hers, and that Ivy Nile has just not been portrayed as enough of a threat yet to take to hold the banner of being the number one woman on Raw. But Rhea is just the best women's wrestler on the planet. Makes everyone she's in there look really good. Ivy looked good herself. She didn't really need as much help as maybe a Maxine Dupree, which that match was ugly if you saw that from a couple weeks ago. But she looked like she belonged. The match was competitive. It was back and forth. Rhea is always good at selling. And it was a back and forth until Rhea eventually finished with a riptide, got her out of there, 1, 2, 3, and she retains the women's world title. Finally, we got the much anticipated and rumored return of a former WWE champion, which was circulated on the internet in the days before this event. Even Triple H confirmed someone was returning, but didn't want to say who. Did the old classic tease. You should probably tune in. The internet was swirling with rumors. The Rock was a few hours away in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, so people believed that he would make logical sense, but no. That is not the person that came out. It was Jinder Mahal who made his return and disappointed the entire crowd. It was hilarious to see people's reactions. Everyone stood up. Everyone got their cameras out. They couldn't wait. They were so excited. And Jinder Mahal's music hits, and you see the guy in the front row just put his camera right in his pocket, go, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is who's coming out here? This is the guy we're bringing out here? Oh, no, it's Jinder Mahal, man. It makes his return. He's going nuts. Of course, he's like, yeah, I'm back, baby. And everyone's like, this guy stinks. Nobody wants to see it, but it was just so funny to see everyone's reaction. They were ready to see some legend come out there like The Rock or Stone Cold or anybody that would just, box office kind of guy. And they get former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, who, if you're not a hardcore WWE fan, you would probably forget that he was even, or wouldn't even know who he was or if he was the champion at one point. So, but watching the phones get put away at rapid pace was a sight to see. Jinder Mahal came out. So, and was sick that the people that, were pissed that that was him. They should be honored that he would come out. He started shitting on America, saying the place is a dump and all the people stink, everyone's divided, and yada, yada. He started cutting the anti-American promo, started talking in Punjabi, getting the people to boo, but he was actually just singing the national anthem. So he's like, aha, you guys are idiots. So this is obviously whole thing. It's just a ploy to get the crowd riled up, angry, all, fuck this is bullshit. He goes on until he is eventually interrupted. He starts doing the Punjabi thing again. He's eventually interrupted with the iconic, if you smell. That's my best version of that. And The Rock's music hits. To me, this will never get old. I don't care what you people out there say. I don't care what any of the naysayers or doubters may say. I love when The Rock comes out. I love when The Rock's music hits. I don't care where they go with it. I don't care what happens. I love when The Rock comes out. And so do the people. Another elite pop for the Great One as the fans lose their collective minds at the sound and sights of him. Michael Cole just screams, yeah, as he comes out into the arena. The tease was a little nice touch and worth it. It got the people, riled up. They were starting to believe. I love that WWE does that sometimes. It makes you believe, this maybe he won't come out. Maybe this won't happen. Similar to the CM Punk situation. Who knows if he's actually going to come out. They just did this Jinder Mahal thing to kind of tease and piss people off. Maybe they're going to do something big with Jinder Mahal. You don't know. But the way they did this was perfect, I thought. And it just, now with Jinder Mahal being in the ring, it gives somebody for The Rock to just verbally dismantle, which, of course, he did. The Rock is the people's champion, so, of course, he defends the people. He defends America. Make sure to get all of his catchphrases in here, which is never a bad thing for me. Tells Jinder they don't boo him because of his, skin color or because they're racist. They boo him because he's the biggest asshole walking God's green earth. I could go through all the little disses and lines that he has, but if you're really interested in that, I suggest you just go watch the segment. It was incredible. It really was. It was just vintage Rock. It's exactly what you wanted, what you could have needed in a segment from him, similar to when he came back on SmackDown a few months ago. Did the whole thing with Austin Theory, shit on him, got the crowd to turn on him, which they don't really need help turning on him, but this is just your quintessential Rock segment, and I loved it. And I suggest you go watch it because he cooked him up real nice. One of the best lines was when The Rock compared Jinder Mahal to one of his movies, Baywatch, when Mahal says, I've never seen that shit. The Rock says, yeah, no one else has either, which a little self-deprecating humor always gets me going. Then he got the fans to chant Day One douchebag at Mahal, which was thunderous and went on for a while. Finally, The Rock finished it off with a parody of the national anthem and changed the words to just shit on Jinder Mahal. It's been a while since we got a little Rock song. Never complain when that happens. Before he can finish, Mahal starts beating on The Rock, who makes a comeback, then hits the spine buster, sets up the people's elbow. The most electrifying move in sports entertainment. The crowd's going nuts. Michael Cole is going nuts. I think his voice cracked at one point. That's it. Hits the people's elbow, gets up. You think it's over, but then he goes over and grabs the mic again. So you're like, oh, okay, what's he going to do? What's going on here? He stops and he asks the people where he should sit when he goes out to get something to eat tonight. So you're like, okay, well, where's he going with this? Should The Rock sit in a booth? And right away you're like, oh, okay, I kind of know where they're going with this. Should The Rock sit in a booth? Should The Rock sit at the bar? Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? And the place goes nuts. The crowd goes nuts. I got goosebumps because I'm like, wow, are we really doing this? I'm going to WrestleMania this year, so I have been clamoring, begging, dreaming, and wishing for this match to happen at WrestleMania here in Philadelphia. The Rock versus Roman Reigns would be an unbelievable match, whether it's for the title or just for the position of head of the table, the tribal chief. It would be incredible to box office. It would be unbelievable. He finally calls Roman Reigns out, something that we've all been talking about on the internet for quite some time. Where were they going to do it? When was it going to happen? He had made mention they wanted to do it at WrestleMania 39, but now he's here. It's January. It's day one. And he has kind of called his shot and said, look, I want the head of the table. I want Roman Reigns. I could talk all day and speculate about this. What's going to happen? Where is this match going to go down? It could happen at Elimination Chamber. That's where the internet is kind of angling or hoping or rumoring it for it to go, because they want that match to get over with so that they could do Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I obviously want it to happen at WrestleMania for my own selfish reasons, and I think it just makes more sense for it to be at WrestleMania. It is the biggest possible stage you can have it on. It's the biggest stage in wrestling, and I think it's much bigger than a Elimination Chamber. And I know people will post, the Rock and CM Punk was at the Elimination Chamber, and it was at the Royal Rumble. It wasn't, yada yada, a B-level PLE. But listen, at the end of the day, The Rock and John Cena was always at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns is at that level, and he is the biggest star that wrestling has to offer at this point, who is a somewhat consistent performer and is mainly known for his wrestling. He's not an actor. He's not a singer. He's not a this or he's not a that. He is a WWE superstar. That match is meant for WrestleMania, but all of that is a conversation for a much longer forum and a much, longer platform, or whatever the word I'm looking for. And we will have an episode to release some point in this week or maybe next week, that will break down everything, even going into the Rumble and just talking about this with my boy Dante. So look out for that in the future. This stuff like this, man, is why we love WWE and what makes it so much fun to watch. Well, that was going to be tough to follow, so they stuck Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Tegan Nox and Natalya after that. This match was really a nothing for me. I didn't really care. Everyone has been beating on Tegan and Natalya, so I knew where this one was going to go. Most of this match was picture-in-picture during a commercial, but eventually Stark and Baszler got the W. I think they will eventually end up with those NXT titles that we were talking about earlier, those tag team titles, but I don't know when. I don't know what the appropriate time would be for that to happen, but they seem like the most credible superstars in that women's tag cesspool of a division, so I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where, but Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, easily the most viable candidates for those titles. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, it was time for the main event of the evening. Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match started with about 20 minutes before the end of the show. That's after commercials, intros, all the yada yada that you need to know. I was very intrigued with this match because I kind of thought there was a possibility of this title switching hands. The match started hot but went right into a picture-in-picture commercial, which I like that they do that so you can at least see what they're doing during the commercials, but they do just replay all the big spots or everything that you need to know when it comes back to full screen. So you don't really need to be locked in. Maybe it's just the perfect time to, if you really want to keep checking back in, you can lift your head up for a second, but you can just hop on your phone and see what's going on Twitter or all the socials that you need to check on. But it was back and forth the whole time. It really was. It had a PLE, Premium Live Event, if you don't know what that means, vibe to it. Seth and Drew were putting on a show using their, all their move packages, anything you could think of these guys doing, they were doing it. False finishes were also incredible in this, had me convinced more than once. Drew hit the white noise off the second rope. That got a 2 count. Seth hit a pedigree. That got a 2 count. A super kick into a pedigree. That got a 2 count. So while both were laying on the ground, this is right towards the end of the match. Damian Priest music hits. Him and Dom and a ref start making their way to the ring. So you're like, oh, wow, is this it? This could be the night. Priest walks up. He, as Rollins and as Mysterio and the ref are walking around the ring, and the ref in the ring is like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Priest hits Rollins with the briefcase, and it starts to look like, "Wow, tonight is the night, man!" Like he just clocks him with the briefcase. He might get to finally cash in, but as he's walking over to the ref, going to cash in, Drew hits him with a Claymore, hitting the briefcase into Priest's face, takes him out of commission, so he is nowhere to be found. Drew hops in the ring, hits a Claymore on Seth, but Rollins gets his foot on the rope. I thought for sure that this was going to happen. Like, this was it. This was one of the false finishes that really got me, because when he hopped back in the ring and hit the Claymore, usually when they hop back in the ring, it's like, oh, he's going to get hit with a stomp or a pedigree, and that's it. But no, he hit the Claymore. I was like, wow, he did it. They're gonna give Drew the title. Nope. Hits him with the Claymore, and he gets his foot on the rope. Drew is just astonished. He has no idea what he's going to do. Then, as a last-ditch effort, Drew takes Seth onto the announce table. He's going to hit him with some crazy suplex, but it gets reversed. Seth hits the pedigree on the table. Table doesn't break, so he's just, skull to table. Rolls him out, throws him in the ring, hits him with the stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains the title. And that is the end of Day 1 WWE Raw. I thought the show was great. I enjoyed it. All the big moments. The Rock came back, so I don't think it was going to be possible for this show to be bad. But all in all, I thought it was incredible. The matches were great. There was going to be some slow spots. It's a 3-hour show. But all in all, man, really lived up to the hype. Glad The Rock made an appearance. I know everyone out there is fired up about Jinder Mahal being back. But again, we will have a new episode coming out of the longer form of this, the old Hot Take Hot Box. We do WWE episodes. We do sports episodes on Philly sports and the sports world in general. We also do MMA, boxing, and all sorts of things under the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Matt McSweeney. This has been a YouTube original of the Hot Take Hot Box. Please join us. If you just like these YouTube originals, I'll have another one on Friday for New Year's Revolution. And again, we will have all sorts of content coming out in the weeks to come. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining.
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.